Hi guys, this is Lindsay here from the Glasgow Football Tour, and this is our channel Football Makes Glasgow. Today we're going to be talking to you about Diego Armando Maradona and his journey from Hampden to Hand of God. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe below. Thank you. Well, religion is football, and like all religions, it must have a God. These are the words of Alejandro Veron, one of two brothers who created the Church of Maradona. The Iglesia Maradona is a religion created by fans who believe Maradona to be the best player of all time. There are close to 300,000 followers, 10 commandments and a Lord's Prayer, all adapted to the Argentine's career. The 10 commandments include: honour the temples where he played and his sacred shirts, declare unconditional love for Diego, love football above all else, make your middle name and the name of your firstborn son Diego. The church is more tongue-in-cheek than serious sect, a glorified fan club more than anything else. However, religious symbolism is the only appropriate way to describe the adoration of the golden boy, El Pibe de Oro, as they say in Argentina. To understand Maradona's cultural impact, you have to understand the social unrest in Argentina in the 1970s and 80s. The Dirty War was an infamous campaign waged from 1976 to 1983 by Argentina's military dictatorship against suspected left-wing political opponents. It is estimated that between 10,000 and 30,000 citizens were killed, some of which simply just disappeared, never to be seen or heard of again. It was football that represented this escapism, this freedom from a war that had completely engulfed the country. And Maradona is so pivotal to the nation of Argentina because he was the symbol of this freedom, this liberty, from what was seen naturally as a grave injustice. Diego was born in Villa Fiorito, a suburb of Buenos Aires. He was poor, he had neither electricity or running water, food was few and far between. He was once quoted as saying, "If there was food you ate and if there wasn't then you were hungry," but he had the freedom to play. Safe to say he played rather well. Maradona got his first gig at Argentinos Juniors after astonishing coaches with his natural ability at the age of 8 years old. He actually didn't believe he was so young, and his former coach, Francisco Carnejo, recalls asking the young boy for some ID. Argentinos were a relatively small club with few aspirations, but on November 9th, 1980, everything changed. Somebody poked the bear. At the age of 20, someone made an enemy of Diego. Big mistake. Ahead of a game against Boca Juniors, the Boca goalkeeper, Hugo Gatti, opened his mouth and let his belly rumble. In a pre-match interview, he claimed Diego was fat, a chubby boy with a chubby ass. Diego responded in kind and scored a hat-trick in the first 45 minutes. He added a fourth in the second half, and Argentinos won the game 5-1. The Boca supporters gave Diego a standing ovation after he scored his third goal. 45 minutes before half-time, not at the end of the game. They signed him a year later, after he had rejected a much higher bid from River Plate. Brilliant, man. His international journey, however, has ties here at Hampden Park in Glasgow at our national stadium. He scored his first goal for Argentina here in 1979 at 18 years of age. 62,000 supporters packed Hampden Park that night, and Argentina ran out 3-1 winners. You can't win more, can you? Leopoldo Luque scored the other two goals, assisted twice by who else? Diego Maradona, and Arthur Graham was the fella who scored that night for Scotland. Looking back on the game, Arthur Graham recalls, "What I remember is being in the tunnel before the game. Argentina were world champions and had some big tough men who looked like real footballers. Then there was this little fella who looked like a ball boy. He looked like a mascot, just a wee boy. I kind of acknowledged him as if to say, 'All the best son, you'll need it,' the size of him. Then he started beating players as if they weren't there. The following morning, the Evening Times ran the headline, "Scotland reel to Maradona magic." And oddly, this wasn't written the day after Argentina's 2-1 victory over England in the 1986 World Cup quarter-final, but it easily could have been. When he returned to Glasgow 30 years later as manager, in a game against Scotland which finished in a 1-0 victory for Argentina, he was mobbed at the airport and said his return to the site of his first international goal was very special to me. The hand of God had always been seen of a one-off, but it had actually been tried and tested at least 3 times in the past. Prior to the quarter-final against England, Maradona had tried his hand at his famous goal as a kid playing for junior side Los Cebolitas, and again in an Argentine league match against Vélez Sarsfield. On the second occasion, it was disallowed. Upon joining Napoli 2 years prior to the 86 quarter-final, he done it for a third time against Udinese. Udinese were 2-1 up at the time, his handball providing the equaliser. Yes, the goal stood. Brazilian legend Zico played for Udinese at the time. He confronted Maradona, asking him to come clean. Alas, he did no such thing, and simply responded, "Nice to meet you, Zico. I'm Diego, dishonest Maradona." The real hand of God, that famous moment against England in the quarter-finals in Mexico City, is well documented. Up there with one of the most famous sporting images in the world. The real genius, though, was his second goal. 11 touches, 10.6 seconds, 6 opponents. That's all it took to score the goal of the century. The guy goes past Bardsley, he goes by Reid, he goes by Butcher twice. He goes past Fenwick and then Shilton. Endgame. Do away with tactics, shape, structure, coaching points, and all you're left is a wee guy and his football. Just total synergy between the two of them created an absolute moment of pure genius. So there you have it, from Hampden to Hand of God, as though we somehow played a hand in it.